Well, with us right now from United Mutual is Steve Leonard, and he oversees their M&C meetings, the committees, and as you know, what happens in the committees goes to the board meeting, and that's where everything starts. And as Steve would agree to, that come to those committee meetings, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming in today.
Happy pre-Labor Day.
Yes, you too.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in for Don Tibbetts.
Okay.
He's actually the chair of M&C. I'm co-chair.
Okay,
He
all right.
took a well-deserved vacation, I believe. So I ran the meeting this last week. And nothing really too exciting. I mean, at some point, we have waistline remediation, we have copper pipe relining, we have you know, all of the usual things that we need to do. However, staff reported that on the waistline remediation, we now have 65 manners that have been done. This is the very expensive portion to the tie-in of the mains, back to the units themselves. So there's a lot of work involved, and this is going to be a long, expensive process. But you know, they're on track, and that's good to hear.
And Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I'm understanding is that there's so many that eventually need to be done, probably all of them at one point or close to it, that the priority is, if you have a problem in your manor, to get out there. Is there a schedule, though, for the non-priority ones? Do you folks know, we're doing this cul-de-sac, we're going to, you know, is there something in line that you're kind of, a schedule you're doing to eventually get to them, which could take 10 years?
What staff has is if there were no issues whatsoever, no reports coming in, that they have, well, we can start with the oldest first, or, you know, they have something out there. But it's demand response more than anything else, because if those waistlines fail, all of the units could be affected, you know, within that single building. So, and it's working really well.
Great.
And Ernesto Munoz is very satisfied with the performance. As he says to us, do you want us to do more? Good. You know, we have the contractors and we can make the arrangements. How much money do you want to spend? Right. So that's kind of the issue. And reserve contributions were set for many, many years. And at some point, we either have a very long program because of the way that we deposit reserves, or we increase reserve contributions, which would increase assessments. And the other alternative is you can borrow money. Any of the banks would be more than happy to lend United Mutual money because United owns all the property. So, you know, the banks would have no fear of losses. And I hear conversations from time to time about some people say, well, if we borrowed the money, if we could get the whole program done in 7 to 10 years rather than 15 to 20, wouldn't we actually save money? Because the cost of doing the same work 10 or 15 years from now will be higher. And if we could borrow money at cheap rates, since rates are low now, what impact would that have on assessments? Some, but it wouldn't be a lot. So these are, you know, kind of things that boards talk about and consider, and you know.
And that's a very good point. Even if you have a contractor now, I don't know of any contractor who's going to turn around and say, oh yeah, the cost today is going to be, or the cost 15 years from now is the same I'm going to be charging today. And chances are 15 years from now, those costs could double, both in material and labor.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact,
it probably will double.
I have some personal experience with that in a prior homeowners association, where they signed a contract for a 10-year contract to redo all the roofs in the community, 168 units. And they locked the guy in at a price.
Wow.
3 years down the line, he declared bankruptcy. So, you know, I've seen that happen, and it, you know, car costs more today than it did 5 years ago. A loaf of bread, whatever it is, materials, time, and labor. We know that, and so. A couple other things. What else? Pushmatic replacements. You know, those old. So they've got 196 of them done now. So they're just plugging along.
And that's the same kind of issue, am I right?
Yeah, exactly. It's here's the budget, here's how much money, here's how many we can do. We can do 2 a day or whatever the case may be. And you know, if we wanted to double that, then we'd have to double the expenditure. And if we double the expenditure, how fast would we run out of the reserve money before it was actually replenished? So you know, we're always doing this.
Yeah.
We had a group of residents who had been to us previously at the board meeting and had requested the replacement of a ramp, actually in a walkway, in a common area where it has a step. So we looked at that a couple of months ago, and staff had brought something forward that the cost to eliminate the step and make it a ramp and to make it ADA compliant.
Right, and that's the key.
Would be over $6,000.
Yes.
So everybody kind of went, whoa, hold on, $6,000. Not, you know, it's not $6 million, but it's still $6,000. And what we have to anticipate is we don't know how many of those situations we may have in the community.
Yeah.
Do we have 3?
I'm sure there's
30.
I'm sure there's a lot.
50.
Yeah.
So in the past, if a resident has steps to their manor, right in front of their when they go into their door, in a Madrid or Cordoba, something like that, Valencia, they can make an application to have that removed and replaced, but it's at the resident's expense.
Yes.
And as long as it conforms to code, we say, you're buying it, we're good, alterations granted.
Yeah.
In this situation, we're dealing with the common area property. So we visited this a couple times. We had a staff report on the cost, and they had come back and, you know, we're vying for this again. And at the prior meeting, we directed staff to contact our attorney to get a legal opinion. Yeah. Because the discussion was, do we have to do ADA? Could we do something simpler at less cost? Yeah. So we contacted the attorney, staff came back, they wrote the report, they brought us back, and the decision was, or the consultation from our attorney was, you're not required to make anything ADA. If you're doing something new, that's different. Yes. If you're instituting a repair because it's a failed issue, like if the sidewalk was cracked and the step was, and now you have to repair it, you have to bring it up to a standard. Right. There's nothing wrong with the walkway and the step. It's just an issue where some of the residents may have a walker or something now as a physical condition that they didn't have before. So they're, you know, looking to get some help. And basically the attorney said, if you do it, you're going to have to make it ADA. Right. So the committee voted to turn it down again. However, they said if the residents want to cover the cost, then, you know, they could obtain approval. Okay. So if you had 100 people that all wanted to chip in $60, it could get done. But the problem for us as a mutual is if we had 100 of these out there at $6,000 a piece, there's nothing in the budget for this. Right. It was never anticipated. So that took a lot of time. Yeah. Because you have people wanting to speak at the podium and whatever, and that's our obligation to hear them and consider it. So. Yeah. And
you know, the interesting thing is you brought up a very good point, is that you can no longer just say kind of put together on your own, oh, well, let's just fill this in with cement and make it, no. Right. With the ADA compliant and the coding, there's engineering that has to be done, there's all this stuff, and you wouldn't think that, but there is, and that's why the cost of these, whether it's here, whether it's at a shopping mall, it doesn't matter. That's why it's so high for what's seemingly a very simple thing. Right. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
What else was important? Oh, we're going to have a conversation at some point about electric vehicle and golf cart policy and procedures. Right. Yes. You know, I served as an advisor for Third on their energy committee for a long time, and the issues have become things like unattended extension cords, which are a code violation, leaving golf cart chargers on the concrete in the carports rather than having them raised up, so not no electrocution hazard. The other issue is some people put them in the carport storage lockers above their automobiles, and they drill holes. One cord comes out into the outlet and the other cord goes out to the golf cart. Well, those are locked and you can't see in them. And if one of those chargers sparked or failed and started a fire. So this is the predominant reason of dealing with it as an issue. This is not, punitive of, they're not doing this for no reason. They're doing it for good reasons. So Third has gone ahead and finally got that straightened out. It took quite a while. There's a lot of input. And United didn't have the same policies. So staff has come back and said, wouldn't it be beneficial for the mutuals to have the same policies with the same structures and the same warnings and the same fines? It would make it easier for compliance and security. So that will be coming to the board at some point in the very near future as well. There was a report that was brought by staff about the electrical vehicle charging capability that we have within United. And we've always known that it was limited on those 120 volt outlets in the carports because of the sheer limited number of circuits. So they brought a report from a contractor that said, well, you could put in some more circuits if you change the panel at the laundry room from 100 amps to 200 amps. And the projected cost of that was $20,000.
Oh, wow.
So
for one or
for one?
For one?
For one panel at one laundry.
Really?
And I know quite a bit about all of this, the electric vehicles and the charging and all of this. So when I read the report, I contacted staff and we discussed it at the meeting. And so recently we've installed a level 2 charger EV behind the community center here for the Chevy Volts that VMS is. And that was not expensive to put in because they were doing the work downstairs in the gym simultaneously. So there was already electrical work going in. So the cost of putting that one charger in, which has 2 connections, was about half what this $20,000 would be to put in a panel to run some 120 volt circuits.
Wow.
So we've directed staff to contact the vendor who installed this, who is like the nation's largest, most well-respected, to come out and give us an assessment of what our current infrastructure would support. And this is really fortunate for us because we won't have to pay for this. The company will come out and inspect, analyze, and give us a report. So we don't have to spend $20,000 or $30,000 to hire a consultant to hand us something. So I'm really excited about that because eventually the mutuals are going to have to provide a solution. At some point, people are going to come here and say, I love your unit, I want to buy it, where do I charge my car? And you can't.
And your counterpart, Bert Moldow, was on Monday, and basically you two have just said the identical words because I know you two work together, even though Third and United, you're looking at this as a whole.
It's to the ultimate benefit of the community because as the electric cars come in, we need some infrastructure for that. And if you don't have it, people will not purchase a manor here. They will purchase a manor in a community that offers that for them.
And that could be a top issue for something like that.
And it would affect
it will be at one time.
Absolutely, So, and that was really about that. Future items are street signage and walkway bollard lighting alternatives, possible residential tankless hot water heaters. But again, when we talk about that, panel upgrades, SCE, transformers. But again, if we don't look at this stuff and if we're not proactive about it, we're not going to make any headway. So we're doing our best
more
to
daunting.
Try to be future thinking.
All right.
Great.
Very good. I know you're future thinking.
Thank you.
I know for sure. Thanks for pinch hitting today. We appreciate it. And we'll see you soon. And remember that for both United and Third, you got to vote. The elections are coming on here. Even though, as I put it, the phrase I put, it's 4 for 4 on both of those. If you don't vote and they don't get a quorum, guess what, folks?
Get to do it again.
They get to do it again. All right, we'll be right back.
Happy Labor Day.
Yes, happy Labor Day.